Thanks, MJ. Good evening, everyone. I call to order the regular board meeting for the Park Ridge-Niles School District 64 for Thursday, April 8th, 2021. Carol, can you take roll, please?
Sotos, Little.
Here.
Salas here. Sanchez.
Here.
Riles.
Here.
Pearl.
Here.
Biaggi.
Here.
Quorum present.
Great, thank you. The administration's asked us to consider going into closed session tonight under sections 2C1 and 2C2 of the Illinois Open Meetings Act to discuss issues related to the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of a specific employee or employees, and also to discuss matters pertaining to collective negotiating. Do I have a motion to go into closed?
So moved.
I think that was Larry first. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Fred. Is there any discussion on this before we take a vote? Okay, we'll take a vote. Roll call then.
Okay, sorry. You said Riles for the motion and Sanchez for the second.
Yes, sorry about that.
Okay.
Yep.
Sotos not here. Sanchez.
Yes.
Biaggi.
Yes.
Salas, yes. Little.
Yes.
Riles.
Yes.
Pearl.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great. Thanks, MJ, and good evening, everyone. The board is back in open session right now, excuse me, from closed session where we opened the meeting at 6:30 and went into closed under section 2C1 and 2C2 of the Open Meetings Act to discuss issues related to the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, and also to discuss matters pertaining to collective bargaining. So the board is back now and open, and we'll take roll one more time.
Pearl.
Yes.
Little.
Here.
Biaggi.
Here?
Sanchez.
Here.
Riles.
Here.
Sotos. Salas here. Quorum present.
Great. Thanks, Carol. Larry, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
This past week was, one day was Vietnam Veterans Day. So if you know any Vietnam veterans, tell them thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Larry. I have no opening remarks this evening, so I'm going to move right into our public comment section. As we've said for the last, now about 12 to 14 months, due to COVID-19, it is prudent to have this meeting remotely instead of in person, and the board and the administration are following all guidelines identified by the state. Also, as we've done for the last 14 months or so, when we've held these meetings remotely, we've given the option to the public to be able to provide comments and ask questions to the board remotely by email. And that email address has been posted on the board website. We welcome comments now on non-agenda items. We will also welcome comments during the actual agenda of the meeting on any particular action items that the board is taking. In addition, we have Dr. Frost present tonight at Washington in the multipurpose room. And if any member of the public wishes to address the board in person, they can do so while we're not there. Dr. Frost is there, and they can do so live from Washington's multipurpose room. So with that, each speaker is given 3 minutes to address the board. Comments may be made on almost any matter related to the operation of schools. Each person appearing before the board will be treated with courtesy and respect, and the board requests the same in return. In light of the privacy of personnel and student matters, commenters are strongly discouraged from speaking about individual staff or students during public comment. Commenters are instead encouraged to first raise such concerns privately with the board president or administration. The board, however, recognizes each commenter's First Amendment rights. Thus, it will not prohibit commenters from speaking about individual staff or students, subject to well-recognized exceptions under the First Amendment, such as obscenity, threats, fighting words, or incitements to violence. So Natasha, do we have any public comments on non-agenda items that have come in via email?
We have not received any.
Okay, thank you. And Dr. Frost, anyone present that wants to address the board on non-agenda?
No one is present.
Okay, then we are moving on to the next agenda item, which is the approval of this agenda that we have tonight. Is there any board member that wishes to suggest an edit or a deletion or an addition to the agenda as presented? Okay. Then with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Olson for a recognition that we have this evening.
Yes, so we have a very exciting student award to give tonight, and I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Frost, who's going to take it from here.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Olson. Our students do amazing things with their technology tools in our schools every day. So every year, we want to recognize one of our students and submit their accomplishments for consideration of the Outstanding Student Technology Award through Infinitec. District 64 is a member of Infinitec, which is a part of the United Cerebral Palsy of Greater Chicago Association. This year, we wanted to showcase Michael Lupo, who is a third grade student at Roosevelt School. Michael is a resilient student who does not allow his individual differences to get in his way. As his needs impact his verbal communication, his educational team wanted to give him a means to express himself. Hence, for the last 1.5 years, Michael has been utilizing an iPad and a touch chat app to communicate with staff and his peers. Michael has worked hard to learn and execute the touch chat app on his iPad. We are so proud of Michael for the progress he has made using his technology and enjoy hearing his thoughts and voice. We are also appreciative of Michael's parents, as their support in his progress is only possible through the school partnership with them. We are excited for Michael to be recognized by Infinitec at a virtual award ceremony on April 22nd. Additionally, we are positively enthused to present Michael's accomplishments to this board. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Frost. Could we give Michael a round of applause?
Thank you, guys. We really appreciate everything. He's being a little shy right now.
There's his face.
There's Michael.
There we go.
I just want to say, Melissa and I truly appreciate everything that you guys have done for him. He's benefited so much. And I know it's hard with the online schooling and stuff, but he really hasn't skipped a beat. And sorry about that.
He's nervous.
He's fine.
But his teachers, his aides, and all of you guys, I know you guys have a tough job and had a tough job over the past year. And we truly appreciate it. I know I could say on behalf of the community too, it's been tough and you guys have really done your best and we appreciate it. And Michael truly appreciates it too.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you to you both. And as Dr. Frost mentioned, it really is key in the partnership. So
Yeah.
Thanks for being great partners with us.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Michael, on behalf of the board. We're really, really proud of you. Great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's
All
very
right.
appreciative, I promise.
Yes. And he's
We
not
know.
usually this quiet either.
Okay.
Well, thank you. Thank you all for being here tonight with us too.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, guys.
All right. Well, Dr. Olson, would you be able to give the board an update now on COVID-19 and where we are?
Yes. So, obviously we welcome students back last week from spring break, and we have the most students that we've had in our schools so far. We also, so far this year, and we also are continuing to focus on those students at home that have remained remote and most likely will throughout the rest of the year. As I had shared in my recent, letter to the community, the metrics do continue to slowly climb. They're a little higher in Park Ridge than they are in Niles. We are still, though, in the safety zone for all of our measures except for one, and that one kind of depends on the day. And it is something that we continue to watch. I don't anticipate having to close schools anymore this year, but obviously it's a worry, especially with those numbers going up. And while our state, is doing better than some others, it's, just continuing to watch those concerns. So we just want to keep reminding, our staff, our parents, our students to continue following the safety guidelines, because that's what has allowed us, to be as successful as we've been this year. So we're just watching out for that, but we anticipate staying in school for the remainder. And really, while superintendents have been talking about it for some months, we're starting to hear some information from the state in regard to next school year. And there is a focus on what to do about remote learning. Is the state going to say the districts have to have that option available to families? Is each district going to choose that? Would it be that parents could only do remote if they had a medical reason why or not? So those are just some of the things that are being debated right now, and we're sort of waiting to hear, regarding those updates. But as the board knows that, District 64 is already committed that we'll do some kind of program, and that we will separate the in-person from the remote. And the reality is that even if 100% of our families choose to come back in the fall, is that even if the vaccine is starting to be administered to children, it doesn't look like it would go to all of our children by the start of the year. So we're still going to have positive cases and we're still going to have quarantines. And so we need to have structures in place for those situations so that students can continue their learning. So outside of that, we are just moving ahead. Obviously, with the warm weather, brings excitement and buzz about all those end of year activities. So I know that our PTOs and PTAs and principals are hard at work at all of those arrangements and trying to make those end of the celebrations work during the pandemic. So there's a lot of excitement though about those possibilities. And I think that's all I have for COVID for this time, unless the board had any questions.
Any questions from the board before we move on? Okay. All right. Thanks, Dr.
just
Oh,
have a
sorry,
comment.
Larry.
For Dr. Olson. And we talked about this a little bit. We go almost a whole year, over a year with no children positive, and now all of a sudden we've had some cases where we've had some children positive in various schools. Are you seeing that in other districts too?
Yes. So the numbers, are ticking up. Again, to this, as of today, we have still not been able to determine any case that was transmitted at school. We even, as I shared with the board, we even had 2 students in the same group, but those 2 students had contracted it from 2 outside sources. So, but yes, all districts are seeing an uptick in these numbers, which is why I also sent out the reminder to parents. So you're right.
Any other questions for Dr. Olson on remote and in person? Okay. Thanks, Dr. Olson.
Yep.
The mic is still yours, though. Next agenda item is yours as well, too. So you're bringing a recommendation to the board tonight on a principal for Franklin.
Yes. So I'm very excited tonight to present Mrs. Kristen Williams up for the board's approval as the next Franklin principal. As the board knows, Kristen's been the assistant principal at Franklin this past year. And unfortunately, Dr. De Lamar had a couple of challenges this year with COVID and with her shoulder. And Kristen's had to step in and serve in both roles throughout the year. And she and Mary Beth made an excellent partnership in carrying that out and making sure that Franklin was still as successful as all of our schools in working through this year during the pandemic. I do know more about Kristen than I normally do about one of our candidates. I was fortunate enough to hire her in Arlington Heights as an administrator and to watch her grow and develop as one through those first couple of years. And we always knew she'd be a principal. It was just a matter of when. And so when she joined District 64, we certainly wondered if that might be a possibility someday, and the stars aligned and it worked out that now is the time. And we have, or I have received many letters and emails from staff and parents very excited about the possibility of Kristen joining as the principal or asking for her. She has made excellent relationships with the staff, with the students and the parents this year, and we look for that only to grow in the coming years. So yes, I am very excited tonight to present to the board Mrs. Kristen Williams as the next Franklin principal.
Thanks, Eric. Do we have a motion on this?
I'll make the motion. I move that the Board of Education of Community Consolidated School District 64, Park Ridge, Niles, Illinois, approve the appointment of Kristen Williams, Franklin Elementary School Principal, effective July 1st, 2021, based on the recommendation of the superintendent, not upon the board's direct knowledge regarding the individual selected for appointment.
Thanks, Larry. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Rebecca. So Larry had the motion and Rebecca had the second. Is there any discussion from the board on this? Okay, and Natasha or Dr. Frost, any public comment on this?
None received.
None here as well.
Okay, well, then I think we will take a vote.
Riles,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Zealous, yes. Little,
Yes.
Pearl,
Yes.
Biagi,
Yes,
motion carries.
motion carries unanimously. Congratulations, Kristen.
Congratulations.
I'd say welcome aboard, but you've already been here. So I know everybody's very, very excited to have you in that role at Franklin.
Thank
So
you. so
congrats.
much. Yeah, thank you. I'm thrilled. So thank you so much. And, just been so grateful for the opportunity to join 64 and serve 64 this past year. And just, so thrilled to have this opportunity to continue to work with our staff and students and parents as, I have this opportunity in this new capacity next year. So thank you so much.
Great, thank you. All right, we are moving along. Luann, I think this next issue is yours, and it is the approval of, or the request to approve some amendments to our transportation services contracts.
Thank you, Rick. So first thing I want to point out, Eagle Eye Larry caught on the second.
That's Screaming Eagle Eye.
Screaming Eagle Larry caught on the second motion for the special ed transportation. Whoever does that one, please include that it is for special education. You'll see it.
Yes, it's been fixed.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Larry. So last month, or at March 11th meeting, which I can't believe is a month ago, we had reviewed the amendments to the transportation contracts. I did not hear anyone that was opposed to it or concerned. So we are bringing the two amendments tonight back to the board for approval. I did include our prior board report just for reference for anyone. Otherwise, if I'll turn it back over to Rick. I guess I'm not supposed to say any questions.
We'll get to questions after we make a motion. How's that, Luann?
Okay.
All right, so let's, we've got two motions to make with respect to each of the individual contracts. So why don't we take those one at a time?
All right, I move that the Board of Education of Community Consolidated School District 64, Park Ridge, Niles, Illinois, approve the Fifth Amendment to the regular education transportation services contract to Lakeview Bus Lines Incorporated at a 7.4% increase in the current rate for the regular transportation.
Thanks, Denise. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Fred. Fred's got the second, Denise the motion. So I know a month feels like it's a year to me or something like that, but Luann, at our last meeting, I believe this was not an action item on the meeting, right? It was a discussion item because I think it was a cow meeting. And so we couldn't vote on it that night. So it wasn't that the board punted or did anything to push it to this meeting. It was simply that last time we were talking about it, this time we intended to vote. So, okay, so just for everybody's sake, and we didn't instruct you to do anything specific to what you had brought to the table the last time, in terms of going back to them or anything else.
That is correct. When it's a large contract like this, I like to give the board 2 months, one to look at it and the next to take action.
Yep. So I know we had a somewhat robust discussion about it at the last meeting. I don't know if there's anything more. I mean, I guess just to encapsulate everything, and Luann, tell me if I'm talking out of school here, but the last increase was, modest, if almost negligible. This increase, they're asking for more because of increase in cost to them, that we're very happy with the performance of the company on both fronts for gen ed and special ed, and that it would be challenging, if not near impossible, for the district to replace them at this point. So that's a factor in your analysis in trying to find a comparable bus service that would also be in a similar price point.
Correct. That is correct.
Okay. Any other comments, questions from the board? Okay. Natasha or Dr. Frost, anything from the public?
None.
None here as well.
Okay, I think we're ready for a vote.
Biagi,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Pearl,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Riles,
Yes.
Salas, yes, motion carries.
Great, thanks, Carol. All right, we have another motion as well for special ed.
I move that the Board of Education of Community Consolidated School District 64, Park Ridge-Niles, Illinois, approve the third amendment to the Special Education Transportation Services Contract to Lakeview Bus Lines Incorporated at a 7.4% increase in the current rates for special transportation.
Second.
Whoop, I think Rebecca, you had that one. I'm giving that one to you.
Give it to Larry. It's his last meeting.
All right, Larry, you get it, sorry. All right, Larry had the second, Fred had the motion. So same issue on this. I know it's the same increase. It's nothing different with this, Luann, in terms of their rationale as to why it's going up this way, right?
That is true.
Okay. All right, any other questions from the board? And public the same, Natasha and Dr. Frost?
Nothing received.
Okay.
No one else is here.
Okay, we're ready for a vote.
Biagi,
Yes.
Riles,
Yes.
Salas, yes, Little,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Pearl,
Yes.
motion carries.
Great, thanks, Carol. All right, Luann, it's still you.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to, before we start this one, just remind the board or let you know kind of what our requirements are as a school district under state statute. So we are not required to go out to bid for contracts under 25,000 for most items. For construction, we're not required to go out to bid unless it goes over 50,000. So for this contract, for this purchase, we did purchase from a supplier that we have used before who has purchased these materials for us. So we did not go through like a formal bid process or anything like that in purchasing these materials. As I had indicated at the last meeting, we did pre-purchase the materials. One of our flooring materials is being discontinued, and with all supplies in construction, and I'm sure you see it in your own life, there is a long lead time on receiving them. And we had been advised by our architects through Studio GC to go ahead and pre-purchase our flooring material.
Okay, and so this was a sort of a bit of a carryover from last meeting.
Correct.
Where we voted on the installation, the services side of this project, and now the board's being asked to approve this particular purchase. So why don't we've got a motion on this as well to read.
I move that,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Denise.
Nope, all yours, Rebecca. She turned her
For me?
mic off. Sorry.
Okay. All right. I move that the Board of Education of Community Consolidated School District 64, Park Ridge-Niles, Illinois, ratify the purchase of flooring materials in the amount of $43,613 for the Carpenter School Summer 2021 flooring project from Michael Kautz, Carpets and Designs.
Thanks, Rebecca. Is there a second?
second.
All right, Denise has the second. Rebecca had the motion. Any questions from the board on this? My only question, Luann, are these tiles available from other vendors as well? Is this something that the company we're purchasing from, are they an exclusive distributor for this company, or are there other vendors that also sell this?
There are other vendors. It is a product that we cannot just simply go buy. So we do need to buy it through someone. And so I had made the decision to purchase it through someone we had used before because their costs have always been competitively low for any of the work that they have done for us.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
Did you say they're discontinuing this tile?
The white chocolate, which is the white tile, I don't know why it's called white chocolate, but it's the field tile on the floor, Larry. So it's the majority of the tile, the white tile.
Okay. So did we bought tile to store in case something goes wrong?
Yes, we did. We made sure Jason instructed me on how much attic stock we should have. So we have purchased the attic stock, and I believe we have it now, correct?
Yes, yeah, we have all of it now. I talked to all the custodians to find out what each building has currently. And then we just kind of, added on per building, how much we would need for the future for replacement and stuff.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, Natasha, Dr. Frost, any questions from the public on this?
Nothing from the public.
Nothing here as well.
Okay, then I think we're ready for a vote, Carol.
Sanchez? Fred, did
Yeah,
you
Fred.
say yes?
Oh, there you are.
Yes, okay. Pearl,
Yes.
Biagi,
No.
Little,
Yes.
Riles,
Yes.
Salas, yes, motion carries.
Great, thank you. All right, we are on to the personnel report, which we have in our packet. Dr. Martin, I'll get to you after, I guess, after we make the motion. How's that? If there's any comments that you've got on it. So if someone wants to make that motion.
I move that the Board of Education of Community Consolidated School District 64, Park Ridge-Niles, Illinois, approve the personnel report dated April 8th, 2021, noting that the personnel report is based on the recommendation of the superintendent and not upon the board's direct knowledge regarding any of the specific individuals selected for employment.
Thanks, Denise. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Fred. Fred has a second. Denise, the motion. Dr. Martin, anything you wanted to add to the report as presented?
No, this is probably one of the shortest personnel reports I've ever had, so I don't know a whole lot.
Agreed. Any questions from the board on this? And any from the public?
Nothing from the public.
Nothing from the public here as well.
Okay, then we'll take a vote.
Biagi,
Yes.
Salas, yes, Sanchez,
Yes.
Pearl,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Riles,
Yes.
motion carries.
Great, thank you. We have a consent agenda next. Before we make the motion on this consent agenda, are there any board members that wish to remove any of the individual items from consent and vote on them independently? Okay, then we'll take a motion on consent.
I move that the Board of Education of Community Consolidated School District 64, Park Ridge-Niles, Illinois, approve the consent agenda for April 8th, 2021, which includes bills, payroll, and benefits, approval of financial update for the period ending February 28th, 2021, approval of the 2021-22 Student Parent Handbook, approval of the intergovernmental agreement for shared vision / O&M services, and destruction of audio closed recordings, none.
Thanks, Fred. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks. Rebecca has the second and Fred the motion. Any discussion from the board on this consent agenda? Okay, and anything from the public, Natasha or Dr. Frost?
Nothing from the public.
Nothing here as well.
Okay, we'll take a vote.
Dallas, yes. Pearl,
Yes.
Riles,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Biagi,
Yes,
Little,
Yes.
motion carries.
great, thanks. We have minutes to approve from the March 11th meeting, so if someone would make that motion as well.
I move that the Board of Education of Community Consolidated School District 64, Park Ridge-Niles, Illinois, approve the minutes from the closed meeting on March 11th, 2021, and the regular meeting on March 11th, 2021.
Thanks, Rebecca. Is there a second?
Second.
Denise had the second. Any comments on this or any edits that any board member is requesting to the minutes as presented? Okey-doke. Natasha, Dr. Frost, anything from the public?
Nothing from the public.
Nothing.
Take a vote.
Pearl,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Dallas, yes. Biagi,
Yes,
Riles,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
motion carries.
great, thank you. Dr. Olson,
Yes, as the board knows, we have our next board meeting on April 29th. We will begin at 6:30 with the outgoing of the current board members that are leaving, and then the new board will sit at 7. So we look forward to seeing everybody for that night. And then as we move into May, we still have meetings and so forth. But for those board members that are staying with us, I just want to remind you that we are going to utilize the June 3rd cow. That could end up being part of the kindergarten conversation. So we'll just see where we are. We're planning to bring the 5-year facility plan to the board in May, so that you hear all of that first, and then hear the pieces about full day kindergarten, which could end up taking a couple of meetings as we talk through all of those pieces. So that's just a little preview of what's coming up, and that's all I have.
great, thanks, Dr. Olson. I just wanted to add to that for the meeting on the 29th, that Dr. Olson and I talked about this at length about how best to handle that meeting and in light of COVID and vaccinations and restrictions. And what we thought was probably made the most sense and worked for everyone was to do it as a hybrid meeting, which is frankly how we've done these meetings, even though we're all remote right now, at least except for Dr. Frost. The board has taken the position over the last, I don't know, at least 6-9 months that once things opened up enough in the state that we were saying a board member, if they wanted to be present for the meeting, could go to the site, we would always have at least one member of administration present at the meeting site. And so we've handled it that way for quite some time. And we thought it made sense to do the same for the meeting on the 29th. I know it's a bit awkward, for those of us coming off the board, it's not as awkward. For those new folks who are being sworn in that night, it's going to be a little weird if you're doing it remote, I guess, and not getting to stand up on camera and take your oath. But we wanted to leave it completely up to everyone to make an individual decision, whatever they're comfortable with in light of their own health situation and everything else. So we thought that made sense. So that is the plan. And then again, just as a reminder of how we typically handle that last meeting, there's really not going to be any board business that takes place at 6:30. It's really just a going away. So any of the board members are welcome to make comments. I know the administration is going to have some comments as well too. It'll be a short meeting, and then those of us stepping down from the board will go away, and the new board will get seated at 7 o'clock that night. So looking
We'll have a
forward to seeing
minor
you.
thing, just approval of the meeting minutes, because the next board wouldn't be able to vote yes or
Correct.
no. So that's one small thing we're doing.
Yep, that's usually the only agenda item. I mean, I guess theoretically something could pop up between now and then, business-wise, that the board has to do. And obviously the board's still authorized, so we could have a special meeting called or something if we needed to between now and the 29th, but unlikely at this point. So, and I know at least one board member reached out to Dr. Olson and I about whether they were going to be present in person or not. If you could just let Dr. Olson know, just because we have to plan, if in fact we're going to have a number of us present, we still have to follow all the guidelines. We're going to have to separate people as much as possible, distance wise in the room, and we're going to have to accommodate for that. So if we could just give Dr. Olson a heads up for those of you planning to attend in person. Don't want to know the reasons why or not, just letting him know that you'll be doing that. So that was it for me on that. Is there any new business from the board? Okay, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Thanks, Fred had the motion. Rebecca had the second. Any discussion on that? Okay, then we will take a roll call vote.
Biagi,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Riles,
Yes.
Pearl,
Yes.
Salas, yes. Let's see, it's 7:34 PM, motion carries.